Hello and welcome to the Change Gang podcast with me, your host, Laura Ordile. I'm here to help you hold on to your sanity and your soul as you move through big change. I'm here to guide you from frustration to flow in your life, bridging the practical and the woo, just for you. Let's go. All right, welcome to the Week Change Gang. I am so happy to have Charlotte Carter here with me today. I'm excited to have a conversation with her. We get to talk about something I didn't know too much about. So thanks for being here today, Charlotte. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to talk today about, one of my favorite topics and really what got me into it. So let's let the listeners, let it all be revealed.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. We're going to talk about biohacking, which sounds like, oh my goodness, it almost sounds scary or sci-fi, like, we're going to tap in and do some things. First of all, maybe share a little bit about what biohacking is.
So biohacking is really when you support your biological system. So you support how your body works, how your mind and body connect together. You allow yourself to be really grounded. You allow yourself to be safe and supported. And you allow yourself to really, what I call, blow your own mind. So you do things that you just didn't think were possible. You allow yourself to get out of your head and into your body, and lots of different opportunities open up in terms of energetics and different realms and intuition and synchronicities and all of the good stuff.
Oh my gosh, you just said all my favorite stuff right there. I mean, all my synchronicities and intuition and different realms. And so, oh my goodness, we could be here for 4 hours. So you just opened the door wide for me. So I'm gonna pedal back just for a minute. Can you give me an example of a tiny biohack that you use with people that you work with?
So a tiny biohack would be a very simple breathwork practice. A breathwork practice that allows you to drop back into your body. So there is, because what happens with so many people, the breath is incredibly powerful, but normally people only use 5% of their breath capacity, and you can release toxins. You can do many, many things by different breathwork practices, and it allows you to feel calmer, more grounded, more centered, and more in your body and very much in your life when you might be feeling a little bit anxious or worried or concerned or just a little bit overwhelmed. So breathwork's super, super potent, and it's the easiest, quickest way that I would invite people to do some biohacking. So a very simple breathwork process is 4x4 breathwork, which is literally the Navy SEALs way. It's very simple, and that's where I would always start with people. Do that multiple times a day and start to get in tune with what's going on with your body when you do that.
That helped me so much. I had long COVID and I had a lot of difficulty and pain and things like that. And that right there helped me get through some really difficult moments. So I understand what you're talking about when you say that can change things. People think that's too simple, but it's simple can sometimes change everything going forward.
I think one of the things with biohacking, just the word and the phrase, people think it's going to be this big, potent, hey, I'm going to do these really, adrenaline-seeking things, which I do. But it's actually I talk with people about the smaller micro moments of joy that you can align yourself with your own certainty and groundedness within yourself. So like walking barefoot grounded is super great biohacking, super simple. What happens when you connect with nature is you're automatically slowing down your nervous system. You're automatically in a different place. It's very potent. Again, very simple. I talk about habit stacking your biohacking. So if you're standing outside grounding and you're doing your breath work and you've got some music on and you're doing your affirmations, then you're automatically raising your vibe into a massive, massive thing, because everybody's busy. So it's like, how can we do 10 minutes of actually feeling on top of the world when you put them all together?
That's wild, yes. And I love that. I love the grounding, and some people will term it earthing. And I learned a little bit about that too. And I actually have a sheet now, my grounding sheet and things like that, so that can shift that, because I live in Montana and I can't always put my feet out on the ground without them freezing. I walk by a tree and I'll touch a tree for that grounding, or, just say hello, kind of rub the leaf, do all those little tiny, I didn't know I was biohacking. That's cool.
Yeah. You're a biohacking wizard.
There we go. Ooh, I love being a wizard. When you talk about, I'm going to go to the big side of things, I think, like the different dimensions or that. So to me, that I use a different word, I think maybe, but I talk about quantum jumping, and I do that with people, quantum jumping, where it goes, it's a little bit of a form of hypnosis, but it's not. And so it kind of takes you into what I say is a different reality, a different dimension of a version of you. Is that what you're talking about when you talk about that, or is it a little bit different?
So biohacking is around getting your human feeling optimum performance. So feeling really great. When I talk about feeling really good, there's all, things like the cold water, heat, sauna, all of the things like that. They all get the human. When the human's totally optimized, then that's when we basically transcend into different realities. So I'm trained in a energetics that's able to, take people to whatever realm they fancy, really, and wherever they're going to go. But that's where everything's already done, and they just bring it into their reality collapse time and bring them in. I made it sound really simple then, didn't I?
You did, and that's where I'm like, okay, explain that just a little bit more, because I have an idea of what you're talking about. I understand a little bit of that, but for somebody who might go, what do you mean just going into, I'm trained in energetics and I go into this other place? Maybe explain that just a little bit more.
Of course. So I have access to lots and lots of different spirit guides that guide me and channel through me to be able to give guidance to people in their lives. And I have an energy which is catalytic, that is able to allow people to upgrade their frequency and then get on the frequency of what they really desire. So, and I do that very quick. I have an ability to work with time and the creative time to be able to collapse it. So I flow my energy to whoever it is that I'm working to. All of your listeners will receive this as very catalytic energy. It will get you to get something done. My energy is threaded with zest and energizing. So people are like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go and do this thing. And it's like, yeah, that's it. And then they're going to do the thing that's going to bring them more joy, happiness, success, wealth, whatever it is.
Wow. I love that. I love that. So did you find the connection with the spirit guides, or was that something that someone helped you connect to?
So back in 2023, I trained with a fabulous lady called Amanda Farah in an energetics called Enigma. And from that energetics, I then had my own energetics come off it, which are called Devotion and Precious. And I have a whole other energetics which are coming at the moment, a brand new way of being, which is all about igniting zest in people. I haven't quite got the name, but as soon as I had my own thread of energy that's unique to me, and I ignite people in mine and they get their own thread, that's when the magic started to happen, and I started to connect with multiple other non-physical beings to be able to bring magic to the world.
That's so cool. Were you in enough of if you were training with someone, you were able to kind of talk about and share that. How did you bring that into the business side of things for people? Did people kind of go, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So my background is, all high performance. And so all my high performance, most of them are very scientific and like, where's the tick list of how we're going to achieve whatever it is you're going to ask us to do next to be our best selves. It's like, oh, this one's slightly different. How do I talk about how I'm channeling spirit? And how do I talk about how you can work with time and bend it? And how do I talk about all these kind of things? So yeah, it was very, very much challenged. I work through my own human resistance around, okay, how do I actually hold this and amplify it? And I do things at speed myself, which is why I'm chosen to work with time with people. So everything happens super, super quick. And I'm now, in a place where very much, if people are ready to have that completely different experience, then I'll go there with them. They're ready to go to whatever dimension.
Wow, I love that. I love what you call time bending too. And I've talked with people about that before. And some people will get it because they've experienced it. But some people go, oh, I don't know about that. But it is such a unique thing where I did accomplish so much more in an amount of physical time that it almost wasn't possible. It's like, how did I do all that? Because I had 5 minutes or something, and I got something that would take normally 20 minutes or 30 minutes done in these 5 minutes. And I had to kind of learn to go, oh, and not really try and figure it out in my brain and just sort of accept it and go, oh, that is possible because I just saw it happen. I just felt it. I just experienced. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me the quantum mechanics behind it or the whatever. Do you have people that step in and go, well, how is that possible? Well, tell me how that works. And do you explain anything to them, or do you just go, you got to believe a little in magic?
I talk a lot around my own personal experience of when my mentor said to me, you've got to trust and believe. And I'm like, what? Hang on, can you just explain what the trust and believe be? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to just lean in. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to go with it. I trust you. So let's just go. And that's kind of the premise that I teach as well. It's about, I'll only allow people to come into my energy and come into my space that are ready to surrender to the how. We're not going to get there. And I am super potent energy and I'm not going to let you come in. So there's a piece around, people have to, and it's a difficult choice for people. Some people will not go there because it's not, for people who are very, very, I don't want to say the word addicted, but very, very driven to knowing the detail. When you're saying to people, you just got to trust yourself and you've got to go with the flow and you've got to let me know what comes up and we will guide and things will happen. And then I show them what's happened with me, and then a lot of people will come in through that way, really.
Do you ever have people that shock themselves or almost scare themselves, or, it's like, oh my goodness?
Yeah, I have that with every single client. I call it your blow your own mind moment, because your mind is the last, so your energy will lead, your mind's the last thing to catch up. So your mind's like, what has even happened? And then your mind is the last piece. When your energy is leading your mind, you have to keep your mind, let your mind catch up. And so they're like, this happened. And then their logic is trying to get in. And I'm like, you've got to go with it. Let's just see what else happens. Let your mind know that you're safe, and let your mind know that you are now a speaker, for example. Say if they've, manifested a speaking gig or something like that. Where did that go? No, when you let your mind know that you're now a speaker, step into that identity, regulate your nervous system, get your body back on track again, do your biohacking, and then we go again, and then we go again.
Wow. Boom. Just moving through stuff. That is so cool. I love that. And I just lost, I was going to ask you something. I just lost what it was, because it was like, that's exactly right. That's so cool that you move into it and then you go to the next, and you move into it and you go to the next. And that's how you get where you want to go, is through those simple yet big. It's weird to say. They're simple things, but they make such a big difference as you move forward, and it's woof, and it opens up. And I often explain those moments, awareness, that's what I was going to ask about, with people. I often talk with people about the awareness of things and noticing things, because when you notice something, it changes everything. And I explain it as, when you might go into a big convention center when something's going on and there's all this stuff there, and you zero in on something and it's like, oh, this is cool. And then all of a sudden the person goes, yes, but look at this. And they open this door to a whole nother room of all this stuff, because you noticed this one thing and now they've opened the door to the next. And it continues on with this giant awareness that comes with things. And I think people go through life a lot where they don't acknowledge what they notice or what they become aware of. And so that door kind of remains shut until they can go, oh, that's cool. And then it opens. Do you have to help people notice and become aware of the things?
Yeah, so what I love the way that you've explained it, and it's similar to how I explain it, but it's all internal. So I talk a little bit about going into the Doctor Who TARDIS. So part of my energetics moves people through different spaces in time, their past, present, future, whatever, wherever they want to go. But never underestimate the power of what is within you. So the TARDIS allows people to have that analogy of Imagine yourself going through and it's way, way bigger and way more expansive. And so just imagine you're like that. You're in your TARDIS. There's no time, there's no space or reality and all of those things. You can create where you're going to go. And what you're noticing is what you're feeling. So it's notice the intuition nudges. So the nudges that you notice within yourself might be a thought. It's like, I'm going to contact this friend. I haven't spoke to them. I'm going to go and do that. Or it might be that you're going to go, you might get a pattern of timing with things, that you were going to do something before you did something else and you're going to switch them round. Notice how that kind of flow within your life happens. And when you get into that kind of space, then you start to see where your intuition is, and then you're guided into the opportunities. So then you're at like the convention, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. And then before you know it, you're into the next level.
Boy, howdy. I often get the question, because I've worked with intuition for a long time too, and people are like, oh, it's a sixth sense. It's like, no, actually it's your first sense. Intuition always comes and allows the other senses to give you information. How do you get people to trust in their intuition? Because I often hear a lot, I'm sure you do too, well, how do I know the difference between sometimes fear or just a thought or intuition? And often I say, well, I give them some exercises and say, practice, these, and notice the feelings and the difference. How do you help people differentiate in that?
Depending on where they are in their personal growth journey, I have ability to see if people can tune straight in. So if they can, then I just say, tune in. Let's go in, let's go deep, and let's go into our TARDIS, shall we say. But for the people that really are on in their stages, intuition is felt in very different ways. So some people feel it very much through sound. My husband's a musician. He's, incredibly intuitive. He can play anything, write lyrics, all of that kind of stuff. That's how he gets his intuitive hits. Some people will have the whole senses. They've got goosebumps. They've got, sensory parts in their body. They will feel it in a different way. Some people will just have a very, very heart-led knowing. Some people have the sacral whizzing. So I talk about, some people get hiccups. Some people feel very sick because of high velocity energy, all sorts of things. And I talk about you knowing your body really and understanding what will show up for you. So, for example, my higher self always comes in with a nudge in my back in a particular area. When I'm working with Sally, who's like the energy of Mother Earth, she comes in around sensory under my feet. So there's lots of different things, how my guides show me that they're present. So it's like that. You will know something that you're like, why am I still like itching my nose? Or why does this happen? Or why are my eyes blinking? Or whatever it is. That's your sign. But I say think bigger. Think about, I work with a lot of creators, like what happens when you're creating your art, your music, whatever it is. What are you feeling then? Tune into your body rather than your art that you're doing. And that's when they'll know, because they're intuitively drawn to create that craft.
That's cool. That's cool. That's funny. I've never known anybody have hiccups, but I think that's an interesting one. Oh my goodness. Yes, I think that's so fun. The one thing I want people to know, and I tell people this all the time, is everyone has access to all of these things. They have access to guides, they have access to intuition, they have access to everything that you see anyone doing out in the world. You can do too. It's not a gift. You can say something different if you do. I don't believe in gifts. I believe that we might be drawn to something that's easier for us to access, whether it's cards, maybe somebody uses cards to access intuition, maybe somebody uses shamanism to activate the things that they do. But I think we all can do them. It's just what we feel good moving into in the easiest way and being able to recognize it for ourselves. Do you think a little bit that way, or do you have a different view?
Oh, I think I 100% agree with you. Everybody has it, but this comes back full circle to what I mentioned on the other episode, which was around the struggle. So people are programmed around the struggle. So what happens with people with their intuition is it's very, very easy for them. People who are highly intuitive, it's very easy. They're like, hang on a minute, doesn't everybody have this? And so then they play it down or whatever, and there's not the struggle piece around it. So when you actually go, hey, do you know what? I'm intuitive and it's easy and I'm going to share it. That's when you blow up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. When you are helping someone to find their way, to move into the way that's going to be easiest for them. Do you actually give them intuitive messages, or do you let them kind of find that, or both? Do you do a little bit of both?
I do a little bit of both, depending on where they are in their journey, because my ultimate is to be the mentor and then allow themselves to access whatever it is that's right for them. But when you're first starting, and it's a bit like, I have no idea. So very much I am guided by where they are, but there's a real piece around the alignment that people really love, the energetic alignment. So I can see what parts of people's lives are out of alignment with what their soul's promises. So some people like to start there, and then when they get themselves a bit more energetically aligned, they're like, okay, I can start feeling a bit more now. I can start accessing my higher self more. I've got access. I'm a bit more open. I trust you a bit more. So I'm going to go into the space and be wild open too.
So in the beginning, you mentioned synchronicities and signs, and I love synchronicities and signs that are there, and the noticing of them and the activating of them. So is that something that you think is hard for people, or do you think once they kind of move into that, they start to notice and use those things along the way a lot?
I think for me, because so many people that I work with are in this being busy mindset, the first piece is always to slow people down, which is what the biohacking is all about. Let's biohack your life so you slow down, so then you can notice, feel safe, and start seeing all of those things. Then when you notice, it's very much a compound effect. Because you build your trust, you start noticing, and then before you know it, like, do you know what? This happened, then this happened, then this happened, and I'm just like, yeah. And what are you? Is your body freaking out? What's going on now? Are you open to taking the next step, or where does fear jump in, or where are you into the next step? So it is very much a place of allowing yourself to slow down, to notice, to trust, to surrender, to notice, and then I Dare to Leap comes in and you jump.
What's one of the funnest biohacks that you do with
ice bath? The ice bath.
That one is, I can kind of do a cold shower, but I have never done the ice bath. And why is that, like, why is that a good one?
So for people who are new to cold water, then definitely start with a shower. Why it's so good is it regulates your nervous system. So first of all, your mind is like, oh, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold, it's cold. And your mind is like a little bit scared, a little bit, oh, I don't like it. Sensory, on a sensory level. If you can stay in it for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, then you regulate, and it will regulate your nervous system. And then you will start to get into the exhilaration. So that's, if people are first starting, that's where I will go with that. And this is an interesting one for people because they're like, I kind of like it, I kind of not. So it's a bit pain pleasure piece. The ice bath is just like that massively. And why I love it and why I use it as a biohack is that it's a game between your mind and your body. So your mind knows it's cold. Your mind knows it's really cold. It tells you as soon as you look at it, it's really cold. Your body is like, why are you going in there? Why are you making me move towards it? So you're already in this like resistant phase. And then when you get in and go in, you go into this automatic, because it is really cold. And when you move through that, which can take, you hit a sweet spot where it feels just so good. And when you can move into that space and you're in, honestly, creativity comes. I've got a load of guides when I've been in there. I've got all access to lots and lots of things. I feel super energized because I'm in full alignment. And then when you come out, that lasts 2, 3, 4 hours. Why I like it more than what I've shared, because I am really passionate about it, is that you start to notice within yourself, say if you do it 3 times a week or something like that, you'll start to notice some days are so easy and some days it's really difficult. You're like, if I could video sometimes me going in, I'm sometimes in, out, in, out, in, out before I actually go in. And you start to realize that your human will hold you back on so many ways when you know it's safe for you to go in. So it's always a great awareness piece of knowing that actually every day is a different day. It's how you want to lead yourself through it.
See, with that, my whole body and my whole brain are like, no, because I'll say because, and this is like whatever you want to call it, but I worked outside for 23 years in the cold in Montana, and all I wanted was to be in and warm and That would be a hard one for me, I think. I mean, and I haven't even done the cold showers in a long time. Maybe I'll try the cold showers again. I don't know if I could do an ice bath, honestly. I guess if it was, I forced myself to do it, I would do it. But I'd have to find a good why to do it.
What if I said to you that you're going to unlock a piece of yourself that is hidden? Would you be curious? I'm going to challenge you now, aren't I?
I would be like, isn't there another way? Don't you have a different, isn't there like another key somewhere? Because can we pick the lock some other way? I was looking for every other way, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and that's the wonderful thing with biohacking, because you can get the same experience by going into like the sauna, or there's lots of different ways. It's taking your mind and body to a different place. And some people, I much prefer cold than warm. That's the nature of me, so I'm more likely to do that. But since I've been doing more of the cold, I'm able to do more of the warm. So it's quite interesting how they work together.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, because I don't like the extremes on either side, honestly. I've come to this point where I want to live in a place that's 70 degrees, which is my house right now. I want to live in this perfect, that's Fahrenheit, but I want to live in this perfect little environment that's like not too hot, not too cold. But you're right, it probably doesn't stretch myself or open myself up as much, because we do live in extremes, and wherever you are, there's an extreme in where you live. There's an extreme cold or an extreme version of something that the earth does, like earthquakes or tornadoes, or there's extremes in our life.
Yeah.
And I guess avoiding them doesn't work that well.
Well, I just say to people that life's all about a choice, isn't it? And it's like choosing your hard is what I say to people, because people like that. Choosing their extreme. So if the extreme to you is the cold showers on the cold channel, should we call it, then just do that and accept that that's great and you're nailing it, and that's great. If the extreme is turning the heating to a different stage in your house, then just do that. It's all about very micro moments of change.
That would be an extreme for me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's your perception of reality, isn't it? And going back to what's extreme for you in your, like I say to people, I'm a personal trainer. So sometimes people, they want to go and run a marathon or have these great big ideas. And I'm like, well, would you like to? And they said, well, it seems quite far-fetched. And I said, well, would you just like to do 1K? Why don't you just do 1K? Because that's going to be more than what you've done. And then let's just build up. And if 5K is enough, then just do 5K. Why are you setting yourself up this whole extreme piece? If it's just the incremental gains, the incremental changes that really are so profound for people.
Hadn't thought about some of that. That's great. Even just changing the temperature of my house or getting back to a cold shower is a way to get back into the change process for myself. Thanks for that. That gave me a little bit of, okay, I don't have to jump in the cold bath right now.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. But, if we ever meet up, I would love to get you in it.
I might avoid you now. I might just avoid that. But, hey, I'm game. If we ever meet up, I will let you challenge me into that. So
let's put that out. You can think of something to challenge me. Let's put that out to the universe.
Oh, I don't know right now, but I'll come up with something. I will come up with something. Well, this was such a fun conversation and very enlightening to me. Thank you for that. So I know it's going to be enlightening for whoever listens, for the right people that are listening to this. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here and chat with me so much. Thank you, Charlotte. You
are so welcome. And I've absolutely adored our conversations, and I really appreciate you too.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, I'm going to include it in the show notes, but please tell people where they can find you, how they can connect with you, work with you. I know you have podcasts as well. Please mention that, where they can find that, and anything else that you have out there.
Yeah, Mike, thank you so much. My company is called I Dare to Leap. So the website is www.idaretoleap. I'm on Instagram at I am Charlotte Carter. Follow me on there. Send me any messages there. And my podcast is called Beyond Money, where I talk about absolutely everything that you can activate in your life beyond money that will ultimately allow money to flow to you. So it's a bit of a high performance analogy of life, should we say. And yeah, either of those ways, you can hear me, you can see me, and you can reach out.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And I hope we get the chance to talk again. I know I'm going to dig in now and be like, I need to go ask Charlotte this question.
Please all do. Right. I'm all here.
There we go. All right. Okay, Change Gang. I hope you go off and have a wonderful week ahead. And I hope that you meet me right here, same time next week. Ciao. I hope today's episode was interesting to you in some way and fun. If so, hey, find someone to share it with. Maybe they need to hear it too, or maybe they'll just enjoy it. If you'd like, go ahead and grab my tips on supercharging your success. It includes a free short meditation to do just that. You can find that at bit.ly/supercharge your success. Until next time, happy day.